A few days ago, I made a video answering many of your questions about Necrozma and its fusion forms Duskman and Dawnwings. I figured that video should probably cover things for the most part, but I actually ended up getting over 400 comments on that video with even more questions from you guys. So I decided to do one more video answering some of your follow-up questions, and I'm going to try to avoid too many repeats in this video, so make sure to go ahead and watch that first one if you haven't done so already. Timestamps are going to be linked down below, so you guys can just skip ahead to the next question if you'd like to get through this video a little bit faster. But with that being said, we do have a lot of questions to get through, so let's jump straight into it. First question of the video, so can you stack an incense while using Necrozma's adventure effect to double spawns? So unfortunately no, Necrozma's adventure effect basically functions the same as an incense, so you pretty much have to pick between the two. I have yet to see a Dawnwings Necrozma double catch card. Is that actually a thing? The answer to that is going to be yes. I'm going to put a screenshot up of one right now. I do feel like I haven't really seen that many as well, but there have been a couple that have been circulating around. So I got a Solgaleo from free research. Should I go for Lunala or Solgaleo on special research? I like Solgaleo way more, but I feel like I want Lunala too. But I also fused my Solgaleo, so I want one more. Also, how do I get their backgrounds? That was definitely a lot of questions there, so let's just start off with the special research, right, in terms of getting the special background. So in terms of picking the Lunala or Solgaleo on your special research, whichever one you actually want the special background on, that's the one that you should pick. Now, if you want to actually fuse it together with Necrozma, if you want to get the combined catch card, you're going to have a Necrozma with the wormhole background as well. So if it wasn't for the special background, I would probably tell you to go with Lunala, but because you actually like Solgaleo way more, I feel like you would probably like the Solgaleo special background more, in which case I would go with another Solgaleo, but just for that reason. Why don't we have an Ultra Beast list in game like Legendary and Mythical? So we actually do have an Ultra Beast list in game. You have to type in Ultra Space Beast, and then that'll actually pull it up. I think what throws a lot of people off is because there's actually a space in between Ultra and Beast, and there's also an S at the end. Appreciate the video, it was very helpful. Would you fuse a shiny 15, 15, 14 or a hundo for Dusk main? That one is really tough. I mean, honestly, both are pretty much optimal here. Ultimately, I feel like it just comes down to if you want the shiny more, because, I mean, both of those spreads are incredibly good. First of all, thank you for the amazing video. You answered a lot of my questions. I do have one more, though. I caught a 15, 15, 14 Necrozma, and I was wondering if this is actually considered a functional hundo. So after doing the simulations on PvPoke, yes, the 15, 15, 14 is actually a functional hundo. It doesn't lose any matchups for just being 1 IV lower on the HP, so you should be good to go. So I have a shiny 14, 10, 15 Necrozma and a 15, 14, 15 one. I really like the shiny for both fusions, but which Necrozma should I fuse with? So honestly, dude, like if you're gonna fuse a Necrozma, I would definitely go with the 15, 14, 15. In my opinion, I do think that Dawnwings looks really good without the shiny, like just my opinion though. So if you want to get use out of both PvP as well as raid battles, definitely go with the 15, 14, 15. But if you're just gonna use it for raid battles, then the 14, 10, 15 for the shiny is perfectly fine. So basically, you don't have to be lucky friends to trade Cosmog, because even if you were to get the worst for whatever friendship level you are, after fusing it won't matter. So if anyone is willing to trade you a Cosmog, offer them an extra shiny and or legendary, and it would be worth it. So yes, you could definitely do this, but I feel like most people probably wouldn't be willing to give up their Cosmog unless they're doing like a Cosmog for another Cosmog. But I guess you could just make an alt account if you really wanted to and just trade it over to your main account. I'm not saying that you should do that or it's ethical or anything like that, but I mean, that's probably what some players are going to be doing. There's actually a response to that as well. That's true if you're just looking to fuse them. Getting a good IV one would still be good for Master League if you wanted to use Solgaleo by itself instead of fusing it. Excellent answer to that. I would agree. Like, Solgaleo by itself is actually better than Dusk main for the Open Master League. So yeah, ideally you would want to get a hundo Cosmog if possible, which you would have a better chance of doing that from a mirror trade if you were going to be trading it that way. So yeah, like if you're going to be doing a 1-to-1 for Cosmog, then definitely make sure to wait until you're lucky friends. But if somebody's actually willing to give you a Cosmog without actually wanting another Cosmog back, then yeah, you don't really need to lucky trade it. You can just give them whatever is worth it to them. After 43 raids, my best Necrozma is 15, 14, 14. My second best is 14, 15, 14. And my third best was 15, 12, 13, 15, 15, 10, and 15, 10, 15. I also got a 14, 10, 15 shiny. Are any of them actually worth fusing? I have the energy to make 2 of them. This one is kind of tricky. So first of all, the 15, 14, 14, that should definitely be one of your spreads to go with. To be honest, it's actually kind of tough to say what you should do for your next one. Like, you do have a lot of good options. Like, if you want to go for one of them that's going to be shiny, you can totally do that. I feel like it is really dependent on if you're going to be using it for raids or if you're going to be using it for PvP. Like, for sure, the 15, 14, 14 should be the one that you focus on going for PvP. But in terms of the ones that you're going to be using for raid battles, like, none of the IV spreads really matter that much. In which case, like, I might just do the 14, 15, 14, or even just the 14, 10, 15 shiny. I mean, the other ones are pretty good too, like the 15, 12, 13, like they're all 89% IV, right? All 3 of those spreads that you mentioned for your 3-way tie. But to be honest, like, the only one that I can say with certainty is a 15-14-14. If you haven't actually traded away all of your Necrozma yet, like you haven't done Mirror Trades for him, you haven't done Lucky Trades for him, I would keep trying to get a better IV one, and then just kind of hold on to the ones that you currently have, because there is a good possibility that you may end up getting like another 96, a 98, or even the Hundo. In Pokemon Home, you can't have fusion Pokemon, so this is actually not something that I've actually tried yet, but that kind of makes sense. I know in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, you can actually fuse together Necrozma with Solgaleo or Lunala. I've done it in game. And in terms of the shiny, I don't know if you can actually trade over a shiny to Pokemon Home. I'm pretty sure that you can. I don't think there's anything restricting trading over a shiny Necrozma and then trading that shiny Necrozma over to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet if you already got Necrozma in that game. So I'm probably going to try this later, but if anybody has already tested this out, let me know in the comment section down below. This person says that's actually not true. Pokemon Sun Pokedex says, reminiscent of the Ultra Beast, this life form, apparently asleep underground, is thought to have come from another world in ancient times. Not only is it not an Ultra Beast, but Beast Balls have never worked on it in the game. Now, I definitely got my fair share of comments in the last video going over whether or not Necrozma is an Ultra Beast or a legendary Pokemon. In Pokemon GO, it is classified as a legendary Pokemon, but some people might also just want to call it like a legendary Ultra Beast. Either way, when you actually search up Ultra Beast, Necrozma does not show up. To be honest, it has been very difficult to find a solid answer on this, so just let me know in the comment section down below what you personally think it is. Should I fuse my Lunala with my shiny Necrozma 10-10-15 or my 96% IV 15-14-14? So once again, it completely depends on if you're going to be using it for raid battles or for PvP. If you're going to be using it for both, then definitely go with the latter spread of 15-14-14. Wait, how do you even get a special background for the Solgaleo or Lunala? So this is actually from the special research quest if you bought the ticket for Pokemon GO Fest. You're going to have the choice to pick between either a Solgaleo path or a Lunala path. Depending on the path that you picked, you're going to get a guaranteed encounter with one of those Pokemon. So I have 100% IV and 298% IV Necrozma, 15-14-15 and 14-15-15. Could you suggest which form I should fuse with the 100% and which form with the 98%? I appreciate your help. Okay, so if I had to pick between the two, I'd probably go with 100% IV for the Dawn Wings and then the 98% IV 15-14-15 for the Dusk main. They should at least make it so that if you lock their respective fusions, you also get their energy as well. 100% agree here. I talked about this in the last video. Like, I really do hope that Niantic does change the system for this stuff because I just feel like it's so inaccessible in terms of getting the energy on these Pokemon. I really don't feel like it's fair to have to spend 1000 energy once again to refuse these Pokemon if you already fused them together one time before. So I have 1000 lunar energy and I'm at the Basking in the Radiance or Hidden in the Umbra. I should be going with Basking in the Radiance then, right? So I can fuse both. So yes, that is going to be correct. You want to go with the Basking in the Radiance because that is going to give you an encounter with Solgaleo and you're also going to get the special background. But if you actually want to get the special background on Lunala, then I would go with the Hidden in the Umbra. Can you get more of the candies by walking Necrozma besides the regular and the extra large candy? So I'm assuming that you're talking about fusion energy here, in which case no, you can't actually get more Necrozma fusion energy by walking with them. Can we lucky trade the special background Lunala and Solgaleo? Will the background stay? So yes, if it works like all of the other special backgrounds in game, you can lucky trade them, although I would be very, very cautious doing so. Like, I would not do that for anything other than the mirror trade, so a 1-for-1. Because that special background is probably one of the rarest special backgrounds in the entire game. If we finish the special research for Lunala or Solgaleo after Pokemon GO Fest, will we still get the special background? The answer to this is going to be yes. There's no time limit to actually complete the special research or get the special background. I still can't decide if I should fuse together my 2 Hundos or my 1 shiny 89 and my 1 Hundo. So honestly, if I were you, I'd probably fuse together both Hundos because that is extremely difficult to get. But at the same time, if you're just going to be using it for raid battles and not PvP, 1 shiny 89 wouldn't be that bad. There have definitely been a few Pokemon where I've had the Hundo, but I actually went with the shiny instead just because the shiny just looks that much nicer. Like, you're going to be looking at that Pokemon every single time you throw it into battle. Like, if you want to enjoy the game a little bit more, then go with the shinies. Do you know if there's going to be more events for legacy moves? I can't waste any more Elite TMs because I just wasted one on a bad IV Swampert. If we go off history, the only times that I can think of in terms of getting legacy movesets on Pokemon is going to be during Go Tours, Go Fest, and then again during December Calm Day. If I already have a fused Necrozma with a Solgaleo/Lunala, can I still Mega or Primal Evolve any other type of Pokemon like my Kyogre or Groudon? So yes, the Necrozma fusions are fusion Pokemon, they're not Mega Pokemon, so you can totally have like a Primal Kyogre and like a Dawnwings or Duskmane at the same time. I heard Lunala is excellent in Master GBL and maybe the fused Dawnwings, so I'm not sure where you heard that Lunala is going to be good in GBL for the Master League because it's definitely definitely not. Lunala is probably the only one that isn't that good. Solgaleo, Duskmane, and Dawnwings are all going to be good for Open Master League, but Necrozma by itself and Lunala by itself are not going to be that good. So there is no reason to power up Solgaleo or Lunala before fusing with Necrozma, correct? Yes, that is 100% correct. There's literally no reason if you're just going to fuse them together with Necrozma, you can just leave them as is. Should I fuse my Necrozma with 13, 15, 15 IVs or 15, 12, 11 IVs? Neither of them are really that great. I guess technically the Necrozma with 13, 15, 15 is better, but if you have other Necrozma, I would just lucky trade them until you try to get a better one. 14, 15, 15 or 15, 10, 10. So in that case, I would probably go with the 14, 15, 15. That's a 98% IV, and like, yeah, it has 14 attack, but the solution to that, if you wanted to run it in the Open Master League, would just be to put it in your second party spot. Lucky I did 60 raids and I got 200 Necrozma. I have 4,000 of each fusion energy and 4 Cosmog. Should I get 2 Duskmanes or 1 of each? I mainly care about raids. I also have a 95% IV Cosmog. Should I just keep that as a Solgaleo for Master League? Considering that your main focus is going to be raid battles, I wouldn't really worry so much about having Solgaleo for the Master League, mainly because you're going to have to also get the extra large rare candy on that Pokemon, and that is going to take some time. But if that's something that you want to do, like something that you want to work for, then by all means go for it. But at the same time, like having 2 Duskmane and then 2 Dawnwings for the raid/gym meta is going to be extremely OP. To be honest, you don't really need to decide right now though, just go with 1 Duskmane and then 1 Dawnwings for both of your hundos, and then figure out the other 2 later. Then a lucky Necrozma with the background plus a Solgaleo with the background equals alternating between special background and lucky background. So yes, that'll pretty much be how it works. So after getting both fusions, I have over 1000 fusion energy for both. Can I have more than 1 of each since I have an extra Solgaleo and an extra Cosmog? I plan on turning it into a Lunala, or is it just 1 of each that is allowed? The answer to this question is going to be yes. It is entirely dependent on how many Solgaleo or Lunala that you have. So if you have like 5 Solgaleo, for example, you can essentially have 5 Duskmane. Dumped all of my resources into the stat spread. It's 14, 15, 15, as I was unaware the 15 attack was so important. I only played the Great League and I didn't know much about Master League or raids for that matter. I've been playing for about a year. Did I mess it up? To be honest, not really. Like the 14, 15, 15 is still fine. Instead of just running it as your lead Pokemon, just put it as your second or third Pokemon and you'll be okay. I chose to fuse my shiny 15, 12, 10 Duskmane over my normal 15, 15, 13 one. Is it wrong to have done the shiny over the regular one with better IVs? They both have max attack, so I just figured get the shiny one because it looks so dope, dude. So first of all, never feel bad about investing into the shiny over the regular one if you just are going to enjoy it that much more. Like I had a 98% IV Rayquaza that was a lucky 2, but I ended up going with my lucky shiny 96 that only had 14 attack. I used that Pokemon in Master League so many times when Breaking Swipe was relevant before it got nerfed, and honestly, it barely made a difference. So yeah, definitely don't feel bad about it. Like if you're going to enjoy using that Pokemon a lot more because you went with the shiny and it has like slightly worse IVs, that's totally fine. Like I've done it plenty of times. So should I fuse together my 100 Necrozma with the background with Lunala that also has a special background, or one without it? So I think what you're trying to say here is that you have a Necrozma that is a hundo that also has the Ultra Wormhole background, and then you have 2 Lunala, 1 with the special background from the special research, and then 1 without it. So considering that your hundo Necrozma has the Ultra Wormhole background, I would fuse that one together with your Lunala that also has the special background from the special research quest. Looks like there's also a side question as well, so not about the weekend, but should I max my hundo Ho-Oh or my purifiable hundo? I only have enough for 1. So I'm assuming that means that you have a Shadow Ho-Oh. I'm not sure if it's an Apex Shadow Ho-Oh, in which case I would definitely not purify that. I would just go with the regular hundo if you already have it, dude. Like, it's gonna be a little bit more Stardust, but I mean, it's already worth it. You already have the hundo. That was a lot of great answers, but I still have one question. If I have a 2-star Cosmog, should I fuse that together with my hundo Necrozma? In case you somehow missed it in the last video, everything is going to be based on Necrozma's IVs, so fusing together a Lunala or a Solgaleo with a 2-star IV, like, that doesn't really matter. Like, it's all going to be based on Necrozma. Still debating whether or not I should fuse together my 91% IV shiny Necrozma or my 97% IV non-shiny. So I'm assuming that means you have a 98% IV because there's no such thing as a 97% IV. It's a little bit tough because I kind of like Dawnwings without the shiny form, but then again, some people really do like the pink shinies for these two. Personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with going with the shiny if you're just going to be using it for raid battles, but if you're going to be using it for PvP, then definitely the 98 makes a lot more sense. Do you think they're going to do black and white Kyurem fusion the same way Necrozma works? So yeah, probably. Like, they're probably going to give it an adventure effect during the Unova Tour next February, and then we're also going to be having the fusion work pretty much the exact same way. Pretty sure you can easily get the Cosmog extra large candy by walking with your Cosmog/evolutions. The chances for extra large candy are pretty good, and now even higher with the season bonus. I don't see why that wouldn't work with Cosmog. So yeah, I'm not sure if I kind of explained this in the last video, but you can totally walk your Cosmog, your Solgaleo, or your Lunala to get the extra large candy. I'm assuming this is mainly for the Solgaleo hundo if you ended up getting it. To be honest, it is going to be 20 kilometers for one candy though, so that is quite a bit of walking to get 296 if you're not going to be using extra large rare candy. I got 3 good Necrozma. Which one should I do the fusion on? 14, 15, 15, 15, 13, 15, or 15, 15, 13? Okay, so first of all, those are all pretty good IVs, I'm not gonna lie. Probably not the 14, 15, 15 since you already have 2 others that are gonna be 96s. In terms of which one I would go with, I'd probably do the 15, 15, 13. Defense does seem to matter a little bit more than HP. It looks like you can change the special/legacy move, but I'm not brave enough to try it. In the case of Dusk main, I think it might be better if it were changed, at least in terms of GBL. So first of all, no, Sunsteel Strike is going to be the recommended moveset for Dusk main in the Open Master League, but at the same time here, like, if it were to get a different move pool in the future, like, I guess that's something that's good to know. I don't know if I would ever actually do it though, because having those moves is going to be incredibly useful for the raid/gym meta. Why do people worry so much about IVs? I always hear someone saying that 12, 12, 13 is trash, but the difference between that and a hundo in damage or defense is negligible. So yes, when it comes down to raid battles, it is kind of negligible. Unless you're doing like short man raids, in which case it'd be a little bit more important. But if we actually look at PvP, this is where it's going to matter more because of breakpoints and bulk points, which is really dependent on IVs. And then not to mention, like, if you're going to level 50 any single Pokemon, you would ideally want it to be the highest IV possible, or potentially even a Lucky with like 96% or 98% IVs. So yeah, when it comes down to it, you don't really want to power up a 12, 12, 13 to level 50. You can do it to level 40 if you want to, if you ended up getting like the Lucky version, but to level 50, definitely not. Like, that is reserved for something that's like at least 90% IVs or higher. It just comes down to how long it takes to get these resources. Like, again, like, it takes a really, really long time to get enough extra large candy to max out a legendary Pokemon. So it looks like I missed that Eevee evolving into Umbreon also gave it Last Resort, even though the ones that you caught in the wild would not have Last Resort. So that is extremely hidden. I can't believe they also had that one in there as well. We also have here that they think that the same thing happened for Sinnoh Tour 2, where every Pokemon that was spawning that had a previous Comday could also evolve to get its legacy moveset. So this might actually be a common theme/formula moving forward for big events like the Pokemon GO Fest and the Pokemon GO Tours. Now this theory would actually check out if there weren't already Pokemon that did not benefit from this, right? So we also had Grubbin featured during this event, and Grubbin has an evolution moveset when evolving into Charjabug as well as Vikavolt, neither of which were actually available during this event. So for the most part, I do kind of see where you're coming from with this, but at the same time, like, Niantic is not that consistent either. So yes, we could totally keep guessing for these legacy movesets for future Pokemon GO Fest, but what would be so much better is if Niantic just listed out all this information clearly under the Pokemon GO Fest information page. And if I get best friends with Lunala and it has a higher CP when I fuse it together, is it going to be best buddy or do I have to grind it again? When I fuse them together, what candy do I use to power it up? So when you fuse them together, you have to use Necrozma candy, and then when you fuse it together, if you got best friends on Lunala, the best buddy is going to go away once it's fused together, but it's going to still be there if you decide to unfuse it. Do you know what the actual shiny rate was for Necrozma? So unfortunately, no, I don't. I mean, if it was like any other legendary Pokemon, it would just be 1 out of 20, but some people say that it was like much lower than that, some people say it was much higher than that. I feel like I ended up getting a little bit luckier than the average person. I ended up getting 4 shinies out of about 55 raids in total, which I think is pretty good all things considered. But I read through some of your comments and some people did way more raids and got way less shinies. Some people even did like over 80 raids and didn't even get a single shiny. To be honest though, this is RNG at the end of the day. Like, it is a random number generator. Sometimes you'll go over odds, sometimes you'll go under odds, sometimes you'll get like a ton of shinies, sometimes you won't get any shinies for like 100 raids. It does happen. I do have friends that raid really hard for pretty much every single raid boss, and sometimes they go on crazy dry streaks for the shiny. I got a Solgaleo 15, 15, 13. Should I power it up? And a Cosmog 15, 14, 14. What should I do? Okay, so first of all, damn dude, you got incredible IVs on both Cosmog as well as Solgaleo. I mean, yeah, like when it comes down to it, you can keep the Solgaleo for the Open Master League, that would be fine. And then when it comes down to your other Cosmog, I mean, it's totally up to you what you want to do with it. I would just go for Dawnwings if you're not really sure. Would you suggest maxing out a 98% IV Dawnwings or Dusk main with 14, 15, 15 IVs for Master League? I'm still relatively new at this, coming up on a year of playing, and I'm starting to finally build a team for Master League, and I'm told that the attack stat is the most important. So would it still be worth it for the 14, 15, 15? Also, would it be worth it to get to level 51 for the best buddy status, helping close the gap or any disadvantage I'd be at? To be honest, when it comes down to it, I think it's fine. Like, especially if that's going to be your best one and you don't plan on doing any more trades for like Necrozma in the future, then yeah, the 14, 15, 15 is going to be okay. Now, of course, you might have some people in the comment section arguing that this is not going to be a good IV spread to go with, but to be honest, like, I've used plenty of 14, 15, 15s in the Open Master League. I've hit Legend before too, and in my opinion, I feel like the best way to get around this is just not to put it as your lead Pokemon, like just put it in your second or third spot. The main reason that you want to have 15 attack on your Pokemon in the Open Master League is for the mirror matchups in the lead situation. So if your Pokemon has 14, 15, 15 and it's not going to be in the lead, I mean, you can most likely make that work. I've made it work plenty of times, so I'm going to tell you right now, like, that is your best Dawnwings or Dusk main. That's totally fine for the Master League if you do want to power that up. But if you do have Necrozma to continue to trade in the future for lucky trades or just for mirror trades, do all of those first, and then after you've run out of options, then go with that 14, 15, 15. And finally, to answer your last question about best buddy status, yes, it does matter for some Pokemon, like it does actually make a big difference. In terms of actually making a big difference on Dawnwings or Dusk main, I can't say for sure, but it definitely doesn't hurt either. I have two shiny Necrozma, both 91% IV, one is 15, 13, 13, and one is going to be 13, 15, 13. Which one should I fuse together with Lunala and which one with Solgaleo? I also personally care about the Lunala fusion because I think it looks cooler if that helps. Okay, so in that case, definitely go with the 15, 13, 13 for your Lunala into Dawnwings. And then for Solgaleo, if you haven't lucky traded the shiny yet with 13, 15, 13, you could always do that as well to try to get better IVs on it. And then it would be a little bit cheaper to power up as well, so that's probably what I would do, because 13 attack really isn't that great. And even if it does end up rolling lower, like, you're going to have the added benefit of spending half the Stardust on it, which is really nice. Can you explain what situation you would use Dawnwings for in raids? Asking for advice. So the number one Pokemon I can think of on the top of my head would definitely be Mewtwo. Mewtwo is going to be a Psychic type Pokemon, and so Ghost against Psychic is going to do super effective damage. We also have a lot of Psychic type legendary Pokemon, in which case having good Ghost type attackers really does help out there. Would you go with the regular Dusk main at 98% IV, 14, 15, 15, or a shiny 93% IV with 15, 13, 14? I would probably go with the shiny. Just wondering, what was the shiny rate on Necrozma with the ticket, because I did 97 raids with 0 shinies. I was also wondering what's the chance of getting a hundo without a background or with a background, because I got lucky 2 in a row. To answer your first question, the shiny rate wasn't actually boosted on raid Pokemon this weekend, only on wild spawns to my knowledge. So when it came down to it, you have the same shiny odds as everybody else, 1 out of 20 for Necrozma, which really sucks in your situation because you practically went 5 times over odds for that shiny and you still didn't get it. So I know for the hundo it's going to be 1 out of 216, and then I believe for the special background it was like a 13% chance, so I don't know how to actually do the math combined to that. Maybe some of you guys can actually figure it out in the comment section down below, but it was pretty rare to get the hundo with the background. My question would be the following. I understand that the IVs of Necrozma pass with the fusion, but do you have to also max both Pokemon to get the optimal CP fusion, or just Necrozma? So I think I understand what you're asking here. So to answer your question in a very simple way, everything is going to be based on Necrozma. Like, the CP is based on the CP formula from the IVs and the base stats. Would the 15 attack stat be the best way to go for Necrozma? So no. I think in general, if you want to go for PvP, like, you want to focus on having the most well-rounded out stats, including 15 attack. Like, if, for example, you had like a 15, 10, 10, that wouldn't necessarily make it good because you're going to miss out on some bulk points for your Pokemon. Would you recommend level 15, a 96% IV Necrozma with 15 attack? To be honest, if that's your best Necrozma and you already traded away all of your other ones for mirror trades and lucky trades, then yeah, I mean, that one seems good enough to me. Personally speaking, that's the best one that I have. I have a 96% IV, 15 attack Necrozma that is already a Dawnwings. It's like level 41 right now. I am holding out hope that I'm going to get like a 98 or a hundo in the future from the rest of my Necrozma trades, but it's going to take me some time to actually go through all of those. So if you want to be conservative, I would just take it to level 40 for right now and then hold off until you get the rest of your Necrozma trades done. You're the goat for answering everybody. I was scared of making a mistake by not upgrading my Cosmog evolution and I wasn't seeing any relevant info. One of the main reasons that I like making these videos is because I ask myself the same questions, I go on the same searches that you guys are going for, and I feel like if I can just put this all in like a video format, that's going to help out so many players. Even though it does get a little bit tiresome to go through some repeat questions, I know that it ultimately does help a lot of you guys out, which is why I do it. What would you recommend fusing? Shiny Lucky 13, 12, 12, Shiny not traded yet 13, 11, 14, non-shiny 15, 13, 15, or non-shiny 15, 12, 15? Thanks. Okay, so in terms of the one that I would recommend going with, the 15, 13, 15 looks the best. In terms of your shiny not traded, I would actually hold off on fusing anything together until you actually mirror trade that one for a lucky trade, and then you can kind of decide from there. Should I fuse together a 15, 10, 14, 14, 14, 13, or 14, 15, 12 Necrozma? Honestly, I wouldn't really fuse together any of them. If you have extra Necrozma, keep trading them, keep trying to do lucky trades for them, and hopefully you can get a better one. So I still have more questions since apparently I've been spoiled for choice. First question, do I understand correctly that the unique Solgaleo/Lunala background on the fusion will only work with the wormhole background and not an in-person Go Fest location card? So yes, that is going to be correct. I believe the only combination background is from the wormhole background on Necrozma and then the special Solgaleo or Lunala background. If you have an in-person Go Fest background, that is going to take priority over the special Solgaleo or Lunala background, so don't fuse that one together. Second question is, I got a 12-15-15 Solgaleo from Madrid with the location card as well. Should I keep it for PvP or fuse it together? Is 12 attack too low? To be honest, yeah, 12 attack is a little bit too low for Solgaleo in the Open Master League. 14 attack, you can kind of get away with that, but 12 attack, yeah, probably not. I would definitely fuse that one together. I want you to keep in mind that if you do end up fusing it together, though, you are going to lose that location card when it becomes a Dusk main. Third question is, I have a dilemma. So I've got 200% IV Necrozma, one with the Madrid catch card, and then one without any background at all. I also have 3 Solgaleo, one 12-15-15 with the Madrid catch card from the previous question, and 2 Lunalas, one of which has a moon background. Of course, I'm going to be trading for shinies. I got 3 in a row on one day as well, but considering all that we know about the backgrounds, PvP stats, etc., what combinations would you fuse together? So I guess we could start off with the hundos here. So first of all, one Duskmane and one Dawnwings hundo for sure. You can max both of those out, and then you'll have them for PvP as well as for the raid/gym meta. And then for the rest of them, if you have the Ultra Wormhole background for your Necrozma, fuse it together with your Lunala background if you want to, or you can just keep the Lunala with the Moon background. And then for the rest of them, I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter that much. Like, go for the shinies if you want to, go for the regulars if you want to. But when it comes down to it, I feel like the hundos are the most important for PvP. Like, when it comes down to the raid/gym meta, like, they're not really that important. It's going to be a very small difference between having the hundo and then not having the hundo. So hopefully that does make sense. Just to clarify right now, one hundo Duskmane, one hundo Dawnwings. If you want to fuse together the Moon background for your Lunala, then fuse it together with a Necrozma, either a shiny with a wormhole or just a regular with a wormhole, but don't fuse it together with the Necrozma that does not have the wormhole background. And then for the rest of them, I would fuse together your lucky shinies, and then that way you have a really cheap investment in terms of just powering them up to like level 40, for example. And regardless of the IVs, like, they're gonna look super cool as a lucky shiny. We have another loaded question next. So I have a 15-13-10 Cosmog, 11-11-15, 12-10-10, 13-14-15, and 11-12-15. Alright, so honestly, none of the IVs here are really that great. Which ones should I fuse and in which version? I want a regular Solgaleo, a regular Lunala, Dawnwings, and Duskmane. Which is going to be the best for what version? So which Cosmog should I keep in their normal form and which one should I fuse? I have 100% IV Necrozma and a 15-15-14. Alright, so first of all, you have to decide what you want more, the Dawnwings or the Duskmane. Pick that one for your hundo. In my opinion, I would go with Dawnwings and then just do the other one as the Duskmane. And then for the regular ones, I mean, like, it doesn't really matter what you want to keep as the regular Solgaleo or the regular Lunala. If you haven't already, like, lucky traded the Cosmog for, like, mirror trades, I would probably do those first, see if you can get better IVs on your Cosmog, and then if you end up getting, like, a really, really good IV spread, make that one your Solgaleo, and then for the other one, just make that one your Lunala. I somehow managed to get 2 96% IV Necrozma with 14-15-14 stats and a CP of 2092 on both. One of them is going to be a shiny, and I also got the background. Those are going to be the best stats that I have. And I also managed to get enough energies for both fusions. Should I try mirror trading for a hundo, or should I just fuse them together for both Duskmane and Dawnwings and be done with it? So I feel like for your shiny, you can probably fuse that one together and not worry about it too much, because it's going to be tough to get a better IV spread on that. For the regular one, if you have more Necrozma to trade away for like lucky trades or mirror trades, I would do all of those first and then make your decision. And with that being said, that pretty much concludes the Q&A for this video. I don't think I'm going to do another one of these for Necrozma in the future, so if you have any more questions, just let me know in the comment section of this video and I'll do my best to respond to you. And if you guys still want to check out some more content, I'm going to recommend these 2 videos right here. But before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you all real soon in the next one.